Yeah, look, and look, probably a big one is that we get to find out so much more about that person, that individual. So, family history, what's their developmental history? Is there any family history of any sort of eye or vision problems, or even is there any family history of learning problems? And so that forms a big part of a comprehensive exam, is really finding out all of that background. And that really alerts us to the kind of things in a case history. You can often start to really predict what you actually might find in your exam from some of the answers that you get. It also allows us to ask some of those questions around signs and symptoms that people might not immediately associate with vision problems, in terms of attention and posture and those sorts of things, while kids are doing sort of engaging in their work. And then we move on to we will do a sight check, and we can test people people who are not yet literate, so people who can't read letters. We can use symbol charts, and we have the ability to do that in a bit more of a nuanced way than a school screening. We can take that a little bit further. School screening is basically looking for a cutoff, whereas we're actually taking each person to the endpoint, finding out how far can they actually really see. And then we're having a really detailed look at things like how well do they maintain and control their focusing at near distances? How do they maintain and control their eye teaming or binocular vision? Convergence is another name for that at near distances. How well do they move their eyes? Have they developed a good fine motor control of eye movements relative to moving head and body? And then we're indicated if we've got the developmental history, the family history sort of indicates, or the presenting complaints, then we might look at how well are they processing visual information as well. And that way we can get an understanding and start to predict, is this a child who might have some academic difficulties? Because there is a fairly reasonable, not an association, let's not call it a causal link, but an association between visual perceptual problems and future academic issues. And then we're going to have a look at a full check of their eye health. So we're going to, and this is something that they obviously can't do in the screenings, is have a look at overall, are there signs of eye allergies? Are the back of the eyes looking really sort of healthy? And then rather than screening for refractive error, again, we can get a bit more granular on sort of really fine tuning and finding out, what their distance vision is like, what prescription might restore that. And more subtle things like, do they have a little bit more long-sightedness than average, where you can pass a sight exam but be a bit more long-sighted than average, which again may cause some issues down the track.
So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing that the school screenings, the parents aren't usually in attendance, whereas like when you do an examination in the clinic, you're getting a lot of information from a lot of feedback from the parents that would give you some clues. I mean, things like there are some things that have a higher genetic risk, like myopia, for example, and I guess you're learning a lot about their sort of environment and lifestyle, and all of that might play into the types of things that you would further investigate. Is that right?
Absolutely. And you get to kind of, if you observe certain things during the exam, you get to turn to the parent and add to your case history by saying, hey, I've noticed this. Have you noticed, your child doing X, Y, and Z? It's an opportunity for parents to see live in action some of the things that we're looking at, so we can actually demonstrate to the parents there and say, look at how your child's tracking, look at how your child's converging, and do you see that behaviour when we're measuring sight? Well, that indicates this is why they might do this kind of behaviour sort of in the classroom. So it gives us an opportunity to educate parents as well.